Ellie made a surprising discovery. The man who bought her was incredibly poor. He couldn't even afford a proper breakfast, having to soak jerky in water. This made Ellie feel uncomfortable, so she offered to make breakfast for him. When Mike thought about the possibility of eating Ellie's cooking, he immediately took her to buy ingredients. However, Ellie was shocked to find that Mike didn't even have 3 coins to his name. What Ellie didn't know was that the 1 million he spent to buy her was all of Mike's savings. From the moment Mike saw Ellie, he liked her instantly, so without thinking, he bought her. Ellie knew what her future would be, as slaves bought by sorcerers were either used as sacrifices or for magical research. After returning to the castle with Mike, Ellie asked him what he planned to do with her. Mike hurriedly tried to explain, but when Ellie saw the torture devices nearby, she thought Mike intended to torture her. Mike quickly clarified that the devices were left behind by the previous castle owner and that he was simply too lazy to clean them up. To ease the tension, Mike introduced himself and wanted to ask Ellie her name, though he didn't know how to start. Fortunately, Ellie was clever and understood his meaning, so she told him her name was Ellie, also known as the cursed child in the rumors, which was why she had no surname. Mike, realizing this, explained that he hadn't bought her for experiments, though he was too shy to admit that it was because he liked her. He then told Ellie to choose a room to stay in. Although Ellie was still skeptical, after Mike's persuasion, she agreed to stay in the castle. The next morning, Mike prepared some food for Ellie. Ellie was surprised to see that Mike was eating the same food as her, realizing how poor he was. Sympathizing with him, Ellie decided she would cook from now on to improve their living conditions. So, the two set off for the town to buy food. Since they couldn't afford a cart, they had to walk. But as they left, Mike noticed a cart surrounded by bandits. Seeing that Ellie was frightened, Mike decided to teach them a lesson. The bandits, unaware of Mike's strength, charged at him. They were quickly defeated, prompting them to call for their leader. The leader arrived soon after and looked at Mike, not understanding why a sorcerer would help others. But knowing he had already signed an agreement with the bandits, he couldn't hesitate and cast a spell at Mike. However, Mike was very familiar with this magic and quickly spotted its flaw. He soon resolved the situation, and the bandits hurriedly fled. At this moment, the people from the cart sent Mike some goods as a token of thanks and invited him to ride with them to the town. Naturally, Mike didn't refuse such a good offer. On the way, Ellie asked Mike why he had helped these people. Mike thought to himself that it was to protect Ellie, but he couldn't bring himself to say that. Instead, he said that he simply wanted to teach those arrogant people a lesson.